I'm so tired. Come with me to North Carolina for the annual DysConf2025 International Conference. Let's do it. As you can see, I am no longer on the plane. It was by choice. I'm still laying on the floor with my legs up straight to traveling, and I'm not having a good time. And then delays, boarding, deboarding, reboarding, very hot, crowded environment. It's just like a nightmare. Yesterday was so rough. I'm just really looking forward to tomorrow. Thanks for traveling with me from Chicago to North Carolina for the DysConf2025 International Conference. I'll see you for part 2 where the fun really begins. I'm so tired. Today, Saturday, July 12th, is the first actual day of the DysConf2025 International Conference. The DI Conference is the world's largest conference on autonomic disorders, and it brings together many groups that help shape the medical system. Patients, researchers, physicians, industry representatives like Vitassium, who I'm here with. They don't start serving breakfast until 7:30. It is currently 7 a.m. on the dot. I need to take my medication, but I can't take it on an empty stomach because I always worry it's gonna give me tummy troubles. So I will be eating this chocolate rice cake to tide me over until breakfast opens. Cheers. All right, let's go. This year actually marks Vitassium's 8th year as a sponsor and participating in the DysConf2025 International Conference. And being able to attend for the last 8 years, being sponsors, having the chance to connect with other people in our communities is so special to us. And our commitment to our mission, which is to support the chronic illness community, is personal because the majority of our team lives with the very conditions we aim to help our community manage. So what's the point of the conference? To share information on the latest research, diagnostic techniques, treatment approaches, and more. It's to connect and find community with people who are going through the same things as you, who are experiencing the same symptoms, the same struggles. Now, what is there to do at the conference? Of course, a large portion of the people at this conference are chronically ill, many of them with different types of dysautonomia, so of course they had a hydration station and a salty snack table. Here I am, being horizontal, so relieved. I'm just taking a very much needed break. I'm exhausted. I'm kind of nauseous. I've started having stomach pain. Just had some rest time. I just laid on my bed and did some editing. Now I'm headed back down. Saturday afternoon, day 1, there was a research poster session where researchers shared their work and findings, and Vitassium presented research for the first time. That our Vitassium fast chews have been clinically proven to start working in 45 seconds. Here's how they did it.
This year's DI conference is the first time that we've presented research, and we're super excited for our first ever poster session, which looked at the ingestion speed of electrolytes through the digestive cells that you have in your mouth. If you don't know, Vitassium makes a product called fast chews, which are, the best way to think of them is like chewable electrolytes. So you chew them just like a sweet tart. The whole concept was based on pharmacological research back in the day that looked at sublingual and buccal mucosal absorption of pharmaceutical ingredients. And it found that small charged particles tended to be absorbed very well through the lining of your mouth. And so the theory when we made fast chews was that that pathway would also apply to electrolytes. And so if you needed electrolytes very quickly, feeling faint, that this would be a good way to get them into your bloodstream fast. But of course, we wanted to add validity to those assumptions, and so we did our own clinical study last year, looked at 16 participants in partnership with Western Colorado University, and we basically tried to analyze the speed and volume at which the sodium was absorbed through the digestive cells in your mouth. So we had to rinse their mouth out with deionized water to get a baseline, measured the sodium and potassium content of their saliva, and then had them chew fast chews, just like you would normally consuming the product. And then they chewed it for 45 seconds and then ejected the content, and then we remeasured the sodium and potassium content that was in the sample. And ultimately the conclusion was about 50% of the sodium in fast chews can be absorbed into your bloodstream in 45 seconds, which is huge. Not only did it confirm our hypothesis, but it also validated a lot of anecdotal evidence that we've got since fast chews launched that basically demonstrated how quickly they can help address some of these symptoms of POTS like fainting, pre-syncope, etc. The study also looked at a ready-to-mix sports drink and an electrolyte powder solution and found that there were not similar levels of absorption, again, just because of the different format. So we're super excited. Like I said, we've heard anecdotal evidence that fast chews have worked for years, but we're very excited to add actual clinical quantitative evidence to their success.
Feel free to pause so you can look at our research poster more closely. Today's been such a long day. I'm so exhausted. I'm having so much pain. I can't wait to take a super long hot shower. But of course, we all know showering when you have dysautonomia, taking long showers, taking hot showers, it's a recipe for disaster. So I'm gonna prepare myself with a couple Vitassium electrolyte fast chews, the fruit punch flavor. Also, you don't have to chew them, you can suck on them. So I just finished the one, I'm gonna have a second one. Hopefully it'll get me through my shower. At least for the most part, I'll survive, hopefully. It's 8:30 and I'm already ready for bed, which is very unusual for me because I have insomnia. And usually I'm awake until at least 2 in the morning. You know, we talked about pacing in the last video. And honestly, I am really proud of myself for doing it, for making it through the day. I feel like I did a pretty good job of listening to my body's internal cues, listening to my body and what it was telling me and when I needed to sit or when I needed to rest. I'm about to go to sleep, but I want to leave you with this thought. One of the hardest, most frustrating, most challenging things about traveling for me is not having my bidet. If you're a bidet user, I bet you agree with me. I'm sorry. Maybe this is TMI. To me, TMI means tell me immediately. I'm sorry. I missed my bidet. So with that, good night. I can't do it today. I'm so exhausted. A lot of mornings, the hardest thing for me to do is physically getting out of bed, but once I'm actually upright and moving around, I'm hopeful that I won't feel as terrible. Sometimes I surprise myself. This morning, not so much. As I said before, I feel quite rough this morning. Something really interesting I noticed yesterday is that by the end of the day, I could not hear. And this is actually something that's not surprising to me. For a long time, I was concerned I was having hearing problems. I felt like I couldn't hear anybody. My doctors ended up sending me to an audiologist because my ears were nice and clean, they looked great. I had the full audiology test day, completely normal. The audiologist that did my testing actually said that that's something he sees a lot in people with chronic fatigue. They say that they're having hearing problems, so then they get tested and their hearing is excellent. A lot of times people with chronic fatigue have issues like this and feel like they can't hear, or they really can't hear because their body is so fatigued. Is just focusing so much on being upright and bare minimum functioning that the hearing kind of falls on the back burner. Like the difference between the start of the day yesterday to the end of the day with my hearing was really shocking. I'm not sure if I feel like wearing this today. I decided to change my outfit. I remembered I have this turquoise shirt that I haven't worn. Now to accessorize, I will be wearing my extra salty squad friendship bracelet. Thank you, Vitassium. Of course, also I will be wearing a mask. I will have my neck fan. I just realized I didn't eat anything, so I can't take my morning medication, and I have to go down and literally, I should be down there right now. But I don't think there's that much to do since we sent most of it up yesterday morning. So once all the products are back out, I'm probably gonna grab something really great to eat. I'm feeling kind of nauseous this morning, so it might be like some dose. Mornings are incredibly rough for me, which makes sense, right? You spend all night lying down, your body doesn't have to work too hard to get blood to your heart and your brain, and then you wake up in the morning and you stand and gravity says, ha ha, joke's on you. So then of course you start having blood pooling. The autonomic nervous system activates several responses, your blood vessels can't tighten efficiently, and then your heart starts beating faster and faster in a desperate attempt to compensate for the lack of efficient blood vessel constriction. More blood pooling, not as much blood up to the heart and brain, more symptoms. Now of course this is a conference to share information on the latest research on autonomic disorders, diagnostic techniques, treatment approaches, practical tips, and more. And of course one of the main highlights of the conference was the presentation given by the world's leading experts in dysautonomia and related conditions. I made it to a couple of sessions, and my favorite was a community engagement session for developing new treatment guidelines for POTS. They would ask questions, they'd want your opinions, and then you would type the answer either on your phone or your laptop, and then you could start to see everyone's answers on the screen. For example, they asked, what topics would you like to see addressed regarding the POTS diagnostic criteria? What POTS treatment has been the most effective for you? If all doctors had to learn one thing about POTS, what should it be? The answers that were submitted were pretty eye-opening and indicated pretty clearly that the room was full of a variety of people from all stages of the diagnostic process and navigating the medical system. By the time I sat through a couple of talks, I had no brain power left. Yo, it feels so good to be horizontal.
We're almost done. I think it's like 3 more hours and then we're in the clear and we get to rest. I'm just so exhausted and having stomach pain again.
I'm so ready to take a nap. You know it was a good nap when you wake up with sleep lines on your face. I'm so tired, and it didn't occur to me that I need to pack my bag until right now when it is almost 2 in the morning. I'm having a great time, can't you tell? Hopefully tomorrow my travel will be much better than it was on the way here.
When I had like a 5-hour delay, I had to get on the plane, off the plane, back on the plane. Then there were a bunch of emergency vehicles at the left side of the plane. And the new pilot, because we had to get a new pilot after the first deboarding because our other pilot timed out. Our new pilot said, folks, you're not gonna like this, you're not gonna believe it. See all those emergency vehicles out there? Yeah, the fire alarm went off in the airport and they had to evacuate everyone, so we're gonna be here for a while. So, I can't get much worse than that, right?
This is the realest I've been with you, I think. Look at us together, me crashing out, you watching, hopefully it being entertained. Are you having fun? Yeah, I am. Throw a bunch of stuff in my suitcase. Fingers crossed, hope for the best tomorrow, and I'm gonna wing it. Body checking right now. having a lot of widespread pain, especially in my hips. Some brain fog. I feel kind of disoriented. Hopefully that will get better as I wake up and start moving around. But at least my shirt matches my socks. I love it. I'm getting ready to leave to go to the airport to fly home from Raleigh, North Carolina to Chicago, Illinois in just a little bit. Of course, since I'm going to be flying, I will be wearing my compression socks. Let me teach you what I think is the easiest way to get them on, so you don't feel like you just ran a marathon trying to get your socks on. So the first thing that we're gonna do, we're gonna put our arm into our compression sock, and we're going to hold the heel portion. While continuing to hold the heel portion, you're going to flip the rest of the sock inside out. So see the heel portion here, the toes are in, and then you're just gonna slide your toes in and roll the sock up your leg. So it will look like this, as you can see, and then you're just gonna roll carefully, take your time, the rest of the sock up your leg. You might need to shimmy it up your leg if it's a bit firmer grade of compression. And there you are. Easy, right? All right, besties, here goes nothing. Let's do it. Being at this conference has been so special to me. There's something so healing about being around people who understand what it is you're going through, who understand how it feels to navigate everyday symptoms, to navigate the medical system and the diagnostic process, and what a nightmare it can be. Being chronically ill and disabled can be incredibly isolating, and it's really important that we talk about the barriers that so many people in our communities face in finding community, in finding and accessing support. Barriers like financial limitations, geographic isolation, transportation issues, physical limitations, energy and pacing constraints, flare-up risk, emotional and psychological barriers, digital barriers. So here are some accessible low-energy spaces you might be able to find community. Try online-based community options. Facebook groups, you can search for your specific diagnosis, symptom, location. Discord servers can function as a big group chat, and there are also video capabilities if you feel up to it. Try Reddit. There's a lot of subreddits like chronic illness, dysautonomia, EDS, disability. Social media like TikTok and Instagram. Follow creators who talk openly about their illness or disability, connect in comments, DMs, lives. Some low-tech or no-tech options, you could try phone-based peer support, pen pals or snail mail communities, local libraries or churches. If you're looking for in-person support, you could ask your doctor or hospital if there are any chronic illness meetups or email lists. If there aren't any meetups in your area, you could try planning your own. And remember, meetups could be in person, but they could also be virtual. If public community feels too overwhelming or inaccessible for you, you could try starting a private group chat. I am so happy to be home. It feels so good to be in my bed, but I'm also a little sad too. Like, I almost wish that there was one more day of the conference because I enjoyed it so much. And once again, I want to thank Vitassium for bringing me along. It was so fulfilling and rewarding, and I'm just incredibly grateful to have been a part of this. Now comes time for my recovery. Fingers crossed it's a quick one.